What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 18 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Fay Enchantress Old World Classic campaign. So as we saw last time, we faced off against Warband in a massive battle with mostly peasants making up our side and only 3 knights, but still put Warband to rout with Gotrek and Felix defeating him, while the Fay Enchantress and her paladins defeated everything else. It was a very, very nice fight, and made me happy that we ultimately ended up fighting Warband rather than booking it towards the Mask of Slaanesh. Now, we ended off last episode with another caravan fight, which says Pyrrhic victory and high casualties, and we're certainly not sacrificing Wildwood Rangers or High Elf Spears to a bunch of gobs, though there are units to be feared here, like the Black Orcs with great weapons, the Savage Orc Boy Biggins, always a mouthful, and the River Trolls as well. So this is what we will get started with. Minus one thing, a little tiny bit of housekeeping. At this point, up in the posts tab of the channel will be the vote for the next campaign. Originally, the second place was vampire counts, and since vampire counts are getting a rework, that is no longer happening, and thus we are having a revote for the next 2 campaigns, assuming that we can get 2 in under our belts. Slaanesh Giggle before the End Times expansion or DLC comes along. I'm completely blanking on the date as to when exactly CA said they were going to come out with it, or estimate that they gave us. I don't know. What I do know is that we're doing this now, and so Caravan of Jourdain de Sauveterre, away you go.
Today, the lance will end what they fully began!
Alrighty, here we go. One of the really nice things about these caravan armies, one of the many nice things about these caravan armies, is that they're not limited in the number of units that they can have of our allies. Case in point, we have 6 units of Wood Elves here with us, and the Wildwood Rangers, together with the Deepwood Scouts, are going to be deployed over on the right flank. The Deepwood Scouts will irritate the Savage Orc Boy Biggins, who will of course absorb most of the fire thanks to their massive 40% physical resistance, but they will move towards attempting to charge the Deepwood Scouts only for the 2 anti-large units, and Deepwood or Wildwood Rangers, as well as the Knights of the Realm, both to move on in. Granted, the armor piercing is a little bit wasted on them, but they will force the Savage Orc Boys back with about half of their HP, while the enemy armor piercing units, in the form of some Savage Skulkers, move in to fight the Wood Elves. In the meantime, the main enemy forces moving towards us, the Black Orcs traveling together with the River Trolls, which is a pretty devastating combo, potentially to, well, really anything that we run into here. We're going to have all of our range units, especially the High Elven Archers with heavy arrowheads, target the River Trolls, who have lost about half of their HP, while we try to pin the Black Orcs in place with High Elf Spears and whatever men-at-arms we decide to throw at them, and just keep trying to pin them down. Over on the left flank, similarly to the right flank situation, another unit of Savage Orc Boy Biggins this time charges towards our High Elf Spears. Well, actually, they intercepted them trying to charge towards a unit of archers, and then as soon as they were pinned by the High Elf Spears, we surround them once again with Wildwood Rangers. The different elven cousins working nicely together to bring the Savage Orcs down. In the meantime, our units of Knights of the Realm are charging around, or at least one of them is charging around, as the other one is busy making sure that the Boar Boys don't escape. But the other Knights of the Realm is making sure that a unit of enemy range units does not fire, while a second enemy unit of Orc Error Boys has now been destroyed by the Deepwood Scouts. Both of the enemy units of Nasty Skulkers have now been put to rout by the Wildwood Rangers, who have hacked them to bits, taking almost no losses whatsoever. The River Trolls are out, the Black Orcs do remain on field, but our Empire Captain moves to sort of tank as many of them as possible in the center of the fray. And once again, looking fairly good with our color scheme. his back against one of these great trees as he fights off as many black orcs as he can, but his arrows continue raining down from every direction as all of our range units, including now our Deepwood Scouts, will fire upon them, and then High Elven Spears and Wood Elven Wildwood Rangers, and cut them apart. With the Savage Orcs destroyed and the Black Orcs routed, it looks like the enemy's Savage Orc Shaman gives up, and the battle is ours. Very nice. And once again, my praise for this little caravan system for the Order Tide continues. All right, there we go. That actually went a fair bit better than I had been expecting it to, in the sense that we took barely any casualties, and we certainly could have taken a lot more. I guess big thanks go to the Wildwood Rangers. I admit I'm a little biased in the matter because I really like the unit, and that's one of the reasons why they're the first of the Wood Elf units that I decided to build with our legions. But they're really quite nice, and they were able to first tear through one of the units of Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins and put them to flight, and then tear through 2 units of Nasty Skulkers, while effectively maintaining almost all of their HP after doing so. And of course, the Knights of the Realm have also been doing very well in this particular army as well. We'll take the money for obvious reasons. Too bad we didn't quite manage to level up to rank 12, but it would have been nice. Yeah, everybody's getting that Raider trait, but it is what it is. New regional power. Huh, I thought we already had the regional power from Mercenary Revivalists, unless it was a different faction than I'm remembering. Anyway, confederation between Carcassonne and Zufbar. I guess I should have done the alliance with Zufbar for a little bit of cash after all, but, you know, there was no predicting that would be happening. Ally mission successful. There's a free Lichbone Pennant. Defeated Gorbad Ironclaw. Terrible, terrible defeat trait. Probably one of the worst in the game, especially to get for your main lord, and especially in Bretonnia, because we have basically infinite leadership aura size, because our high-level provinces, each one gives us a +5 leadership aura size, and at this point we do have a lot of provinces, and generally speaking it's a garbage stat. Plus the recruit rank in our main army. Fay Enchantress is never going to be sitting still to recruit, so yeah. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Actually, speaking of Fay Enchantress... Did you get punted out of the siege? You did, but that's okay.
We have met before.
Actually,
We have met before.
I just want to double check that neither Gotrek nor Felix has siege attacker, and unfortunately neither one of them does. We could temporarily give up this in order to allow you to besiege Kypros and then keep moving on. Somjak, I notice, is another tier. Okay, wait. Let's deal with this and then we'll deal with that. Orc Spain, agriculturalist, raider for her pawns. Fair enough. Whoa. What is this? Gain by ransoming captives. Chivalry reduction, recruitment cost, and again, irrelevant to especially a caravan lord. Scarecrow banner. This will be quite nice in our Caravans army with the flyers. Iron Curse icon, not for you. Court Jester will be nice against the Slaaneshi. Killed in battle of real Dragon Dram. You were the one that got attacked by Morger, and hopefully we'll be able to get revenge for you. In fact, he might actually fight this because this army is as yet incomplete.
Very well. For the lady.
Yes. Also, looks like Lewin has retaken Castle Artois now that we're moving up to do all the work. And that was the capital of the Morger's faction. In fact, it's his only territory. So what we really want to do, I don't really care about Lerhe or Wesen. I want to grab the Oak of Prophecy to hopefully eventually transfer it to the Wood Elves. And I want to grab Wission so we can complete Gisoro. But otherwise, most of this stuff, you know, Lewin can have. I'm a little bit iffy on Lyonesse, though, because, well... Oh, Lyonesse is 2 provinces. And the reason I'm iffy on it is because, technically speaking, we do have Reponse now, so technically we should have Lyonesse to ourselves. I don't know, I'll think about it. Depends how much territory we want to, you know. We could always also use Lyonesse as a forward operating base for an errantry into Albion, actually out of curiosity. So Gorok, by the looks of it, is, or is it Krokgar on this? Is it one of the lizards? Is long dead. It looks like I would imagine that the Dark Elves are still here, but I See no chaos territory here, so maybe the Imperials and whoever else is over here are surviving. I guess we'll see. Albion Bowl is pretty interesting in the on the old world map, and I had a lot of fun playing it when running. Actually, I don't remember. Was it? What did I start with there? Was it Grimgore? I feel like it was Grimgore, but anyway. Ally begins outpost construction, Mask of Loak, sure. Faction destroyed the Ancestral Throng. Well, Greenskins destroyed, or at least some of them. Ready for duty, Maximilian Le Chasseur, ready for duty, ready for... Okay. Ooh, Cassien de Caravans back up. Alright, in fact, let's... Ooh, technology research, more money, good. Actually, speaking of technologies, there's two things that we'll want to do here. The first is select one of these. Corruption reduction, channel the lady, which is... I don't really care for the peasant mob upkeep reduction. Oh, yay, free is slightly free or effectively free. Melee defense plus 8 for battle pilgrims is really quite nice, though. This is wins magic power reserve capacity plus 10. I mean, all of these are nice, but there may be better stuff. I feel like we should move towards professional fletchers as fast as possible. It's 10% range and ammunition for all of our missile troops, and it's pretty much universally useful. Economy-wise, rather, there's the income from industry, but it doesn't matter to us all that much as yet, though eventually we may build a few industry-centric provinces rather than farm-centric provinces. Oh, more reduction costs for infrastructure buildings. Well, while we have our... more upkeep reduction for peasant mobs. I do like the melee attack, but it's not critical right now. While we have the right going, this is effectively free anyway and is irrelevant. So I'm going to say we'll go straight to professional fletchers. Or actually, wait, we'll start with commissioned carpenters and then maybe swap out to one of these once we have a little bit more chivalry, and we'll want to be spending it. We do want to eventually pick one of the sort of capstones here as well, after all. And there's all this to consider. Although it's mostly just, you know, sort of bonus relationship and stuff. Also, you, sir, before I forget, you're a strategist. You're supposed to join one of these armies, I believe, so start making your way over. And, since we got the new Duke... okay, so Alberg will be up in 1 turn, Bowmen will be up in 2, but we got Cassien de Caravans. Though, funnily enough, this is one of the few times that maybe we can just get him up and running at Castle Caravans itself because, well, the flyers will be on the way. And in fact, I don't really want to wait anymore for them, therefore... let us, costly though it may be... Oh, you don't have the... you don't have bonded service, which is why it's more expensive. Huh. We could actually get a random prophetess and it would save us money, enough money most likely in terms of recruitment, that it would be worth it. We do have a free shepherd here after all. Not that the growth BAM matters all that much anymore, but it's just kind of easier to use them as shepherds. Frankly, generous spirit with the upkeep reduction may actually be more valuable. It will make the prophetess herself more expensive, but as a recruiter, well, then again, you're not going to be recruiting forever, even if you are recruiting for some time. So while this will make you more expensive, well, any troops that you have, you know what? Let's go Marie Le Jongleur. Alright, let's go with you. Then we will immediately go into Inspiring Presence, Root Marcher, the Peasant's Purpose, and Arcane Wisdom. Muster the farmhands, 1 point. And then 3 points then to Bonded Service to recoup the money or the losses. We will begin an errantry against the vampire... I'm going to say coast. We will... It's 25 turns, and within that time we will most likely be able to attack the Pirates of Sartosa. Or they'll attack us, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, then, Esme, I would like you to move out of here, go into... Spread the word. We'll have Marie Le Jongleur go in here, and... yeah, get 3 regular Pegasus Knights. 3 regular Pegasus Knights, plus 2 Royal Pegasus Knights, plus 1 Royal Hippogriff Knights. Alright, and then that will be the army plus some Forest Eagles. Ooh, actually, that reminds me. Cavarok, we should now have just enough... Oh, this army could actually use some Hawk Riders as well. You know, maybe we could put some Hawk Riders in another army, but I want Sisters of the Thorn in, funnily enough, this army. So you know what? What we'll want to maybe do is chase down Morger, kill him, occupy Martel, And then out of Martel, perhaps we could,
True knight of Bretonnia.
perhaps we could recruit the Sister of the Thorn. It would mean not moving for 2 turns, but... Alright, let's do it. Alright, let's get you going, sir. Soulfire, Shield of Faith, Slaanesh Giggle, increase mobility. We do want Retinue Valet on everybody, regardless of the fact that we are looking to get Light of the Lady and Healer, but that's 4 points total, meaning that'll be by rank 15, meaning we're free to spend 2. We'll gain 2 more, and then that'll be maxed out. Alright, Friar is good. What about the Faceless? Let's get the Outlaws, Starcaster, Arrow. Easy target practice, and that's all we can get. We'll want Brigand Sparring, but we'll have to just wait and work with what we've got. We do have a fairly weak army here, so we will have to be careful. Quite careful indeed. And in fact, let's use Gautier d'Aquitaine and use him to level up a little bit. Let's go for Earthing. We have a basic harmonic convergence cast, so plus it'll be a way to easily and quickly get one of these guys on field and see what they can do. All right, let's see if Morgar runs or whether he wants to fight this. Come on. Go fight. Valiant defeat, casualties high. That's what I like to see. The main reason for this is most likely Morgar himself. I'm actually not sure how we're going to bring him down because he's insanely difficult to do anything to. He has a Mortis Engine effect, so you can't cluster around him, and he has regeneration on top of that. He can summon his Chaos Spawn, and just all told, a very nasty lord. Luckily, however, he does not appear to be unbreakable. So the idea would then be to break all the Gores and Ungores and maybe leave Morgar alone. Go. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can pull this off. Obviously, the auto-resolve says it'll be a defeat, and it is going to be a dangerous fight, regardless, as we're using pretty much all basic garbage, and this army is, as we've discussed, supposed to take a different form than it currently has. We're just waiting for the units to get trained up and upgraded, but that's going to take a while. And, well, we'll just have to deal with what we can use, or deal with this with what we have, I guess. Anyway, the main first target is going to be one of the Razor Gore herds. The enemy has 2 Razor Gore herds and a unit of Hounds of Pestilence, which, other than Mr. Morgar, are the biggest threats on the battlefield, and tremendous threats at that, with the lethal poison and bleed combination in between the 2 units. And we get a nice rear charge in with our Brigand Raiders, but also trying to catch those Tusk Gore chariots to stop them in their tracks, or just destroy them. Though obviously they're not going to be nearly as threatening as a unit of Razor Gore chariots, who have like twice as much HP and bleed, I believe, on top of that. Anyway, the enemy main stack is starting to move towards us, and it looks like a unit of Harpies has been peeled off from the rest of the army and is now chasing around the Wardens of Montfort. Ungor Raiders have closed the distance with our Brigands and have started filling them with arrows, so we're going to charge the Brigands at the enemy Ungors. The armor piercing is wasted, but what can you do? Besides, these Brigands are eventually supposed to evolve into Waylayers, assuming that they survive. Now, these ones are, I suppose, the least likely to survive here. Between the Razor Gores and the Hounds of Pestilence, this is not looking good for them. We'll try to help them out with a unit of Brigand Raiders, but we're also going to have to back those Raiders off if we take too much damage, which doubtless we will. Ooh, and it looks like the Razor Gores have actually smartly moved through the line and towards our artillery, rapidly and destroying one of the artillery pieces, and starting to tear through the crew. We're going to try to stop them in their tracks with the Brigand Raiders. And here it looks like the Brigands with Axes have just managed to beat the Ungor Raiders here, or basic Ungor units here, Ungor Spears. Which, again, without buffs for our units, with our Lord being level 1 and all that, we can't really rely on these guys to be all that fighty. It looks like we're getting a little bit of work out of our Friar here, just before he routs, as he's down to half HP with Morgar attacking him. Morgar being level 25 compared to our own level 3 Lord. obviously means we can't directly fight him and have to fight everything else. Ungors here, a slightly better target for our brigands with axes than the regular gores, and by pinning them in place we are getting still a little bit of damage coming out of our artillery pieces. And I do mean a little bit because one of the artillery pieces has at this point been pretty much destroyed by those razor gores, and one of the units of brigand raiders has been pretty much destroyed by the razor gores, and a second one now severely damaged. All the while, one of the units of brigands with great axes has been destroyed by those hounds of pestilence, who we can't really do anything about as yet. Alright, and it's looking pretty dangerous, so the bounce power is at about 65% in our favor. Our lost son is attempting to hold Morger back, but this is not going to go well for him against the level 25 Morger. And though he pins him in place for a little while, he's going to have to back off, and we're going to have to use these brigands to pin Morger instead. Morger has also summoned a unit of Chaos Spawn on the battlefield, which we are trying to hold back with our Crownless Lord and with the Friar. And there's some horrible beasties to beat back with a stick like this, but well, that's all you can do. It looks like the Harpies have given up on chasing the Wardens of Montfort, as they've been caught instead by the Hounds of Pestilence, who have pretty much torn them to shreds at this point, and the Harpies move to tear through the rest of the artillery pieces, or at least their crews. They're going to have to do their best to abandon them. We are definitely not looking so hot here in the back line. However, the enemy's back line is similarly crippled, as we're making sure that those units of our cav that are still free to, take any kind of action are running around and making sure that those units that are routed actually shatter. We're also getting plenty of work out of our Sisters of Thorn, which have been just charging the enemy, or from enemy to enemy, as best they can. And here they're going to have to do their best to try to make that Razor Gore unit a rout. The Sisters should not be used in melee combat, as they are very light on HP, but they are applying that Toxic Venom, and all the while here we have given them the Harmonic Convergence and Shield of Thorns to try to keep them in combat against those Razor Gores all that much longer. Looks like successfully so, as we finally managed to get those pigs off field. And only the Hounds of Pestilence remain as the major threat here, tearing through another unit of Brigand Raiders up to 206 kills and 27,000 damage. Once again, never underestimate the Beastmen, the Hounds of Pestilence. They're fantastic. And when playing Beastmen, it's very hard not to just want to spam them, because they're so dang good. Frankly, the same is true of Warriors of Chaos and Nurgle as well. But anyway, looks like they're going to give chase to the Brigand Raiders, but will turn towards the Sisters of the Thorn with about half of their HP, but with still 31 of 32 models. If Morger wins, they'll recover to full, basically. So, we're going to once again try to pin them in place with a hero like this, the Friar this time, and then pop off of that, I keep wanting to say Searing Doom. There we go, that Faith ability, Soulfire. But it looks like between that and the Toxic Venom from the Sisters of the Thorn firing into their backs, and we do finally manage to rout those hounds. Only Morger remains on the battlefield, and we are not engaging him with our lords. We're just going to slowly but surely plink away at him with the arrow fire from the Nameless or Crownless Lord and the Faceless Hero. And obviously they do not do a lot of damage by any means, but Morger is, I think, too slow to actually catch them as they move faster than him. So they can skirmish mode and keep firing away at him until he runs out of ammunition. Or until we run out of ammunition, rather. Fortunately, there is no need for that, as with his army all now shattered and off the field, Morger himself will shatter, and the battle will be ours, and we'll give chase to him and make sure to knock him down. 404 kills on the Sisters of Thorn here. We really need our own range cav for this army, but anyway. Morger, I believe, will be chased down as well, and a very, very nice fight. Definitely the closest one we've had in this campaign so far. All the heroes severely damaged, and a lot of our units down to like 10% HP. That's what I like to see. Ooh, alrighty, there we go, a proper fight. You always live for the fights where you win by the skin of your teeth, and this was just barely won. I really enjoyed this one as well. This particular army is supposed to be a range cav army, so obviously it's not ready for real fights yet, and thusly took a bit of a pounding here. Obviously, not a crazy amount of damage on our faceless or our nameless, but they did something. They were firing in Morgar most of the time, and well, when they weren't, they were just trying to anchor the line against other units. Obviously, the Ringers, our Sisters of the Thorn, did the most damage by far with 405 kills and 60,000 damage thanks to that toxic venom application, which we used as judiciously as we could. A little bit of work out of the Wardens of Montfauve, but they were being chased around by harpies this entire time. And I've said it many a times before for the Beastmen, but the combo of the Razor Gores and the Hounds of Pestilence is absolutely nasty, especially against tier 1 sort of weak units like this. We've got 27,000 damage on this unit of Razor Gores and 164 kills, and 30,000 damage and 239 kills on those Hounds of Pestilence. Put them together and they'll mess you up, man. Bleed plus lethal poison and regeneration as well. It's a good time for the Beastmen. Not so good for the poor little Brigand unit that got destroyed, but that's okay. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Plus, these guys are supposed to slowly level up to become waylayers, as that's sort of part of the concept here. We will have to chase the enemy down. I don't think these guys care that much about chivalry either, but yeah, we'll ransom the captives. We've no heal to us. Now, this should theoretically destroy Morgar's faction if we... Yeah, missile resistance 25%. See, this would be very nice to have on any of our big target lords, i.e. anybody who's riding a hippogriff, but it is what it is. Obsidian ammo. Alright, hold on to that because we don't have anything better for you right now. Then we will move to chase you down. Actually, you know what? We'll move to chase you down after applying a few points. You... get... Huh. Do you not have... Oh. You don't have the... bonus for range, Crownless Lord? Really? Only the Faceless have the bonus for range? It's kind of surprising. I would have expected you to have the bonus for range as well, not just the armor and the weapon strength. Huh, go figure. I guess you do buff range via Spotter's Eye, but ooh, 10% base missile damage. Who the hell cares? I mean, it's better than nothing, but, you know, barely. Out of this... This does include the Waylayers, so we are free technically to upgrade this. I guess we gotta go through Highwaymen, but we'll start with the Outlaws Starcaster. I don't know how much value we'll get out of it, but for now it's better than nothing. You're gonna sit in this army for a little bit to help them replenish troops then, sir. And then the Friar, you did not level up to level 15, but you're getting close. And then what about you? So you have the target practice, which was the main thing. Scavenge Armor will be... available, but let's go for the Brigand Sparring. Like so. Now, the critical thing is, can we yet upgrade you to range cav? You have to be rank 8 now. So, actually, we've got a fair bit of fighting to do before these guys get enough XP. I'm gonna make sure to keep them in raiding stance to and get the free XP on them. I guess now that we have the Green Knight on field, we should be able to get a little bit of bonus out of that as well. Anyway, go kill Galak, and I'm gonna hope that we can auto-resolve. Nope, we will lose the Brigand Raiders. Alright, I guess we're just going to max speed through this. As the game's gonna force us to do it. What can you do? Ah, what a great fight, though. Most likely, well, I was about to say it's the only fight that this army is going to have that will be so heavily against it, but not really, at least not until it actually gets upgrades. It's still using a tier 1 unit, so it's going to be doing that for a while. Yeah, it needs its real stuff. Anyway, you guys go here. I would like you two to take pot shots at the Razor Gore herds, and then you two to help out dish damage. You can all stay in skirmish mode. You guys can stay to protect the artillery pieces, such as they are. You are non-viable, so I'm gonna put you here, where you will not interfere. You guys, you can go here. We're gonna have you charge any enemy. Hello? Hello? Trying to hide you here. Thank you. I don't know why that had to be so difficult. You guys go here. I'm a little bit concerned about the friar. But let's hope it won't be too bad. Anyway, let's have all of you target these guys. Oh, we do still have the heals available as well. And both of you turn this off for a second and use your arrow on the piggies. They're critical to be destroyed. Let's hope that our stupid... Oh, of course. Frickin' idiot. He fired his stupid arrow into the into one of the Wardens of Montfort, which had to be in the way, because of course they did. Also, artillery... I think maybe firing on the Harpies is a waste, so let's fire on these guys instead. Razor Gores are gonna close, but that's actually fine. Let's get the sort of healthier units of Brigands forward, and now it's time for the cav to move. And gotta get those Harpies out of the picture as well. Alright, and... Oh, the Harpies are gonna run all around. Alright, fair enough. Alright, go, 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 all of you. And into Mala, I think. And then you can buff up you, and as soon as the friar is nearby, we'll do this to heal them up. I love them. Alright, and Sisters of the Thorn, you ran way too far from the Harpies. But not to worry, as soon as everybody closes the distance, we're gonna pop this off right now. Like so. You, go after the Ungors. You guys, actually the battle's over, you shouldn't be needed. You guys will go after the Ungors as well. And let's debuff the, I don't know, whichever unit is still fighting. Oh, Friar, you're supposed to close the distance as well, but I guess we don't need you because the battle's over. The battle's over, there we go. I guess we'll take a couple extra seconds to have our units chase the enemy down because they clearly need XP. These are the ones that are supposed to be leveled up to Arimo Chasseur. And frankly, they've just been with us so long that I'd like to actually get them to the point that they're upgraded. Admittedly, it would be just easier, quicker, more efficient to, you know, just straight up recruit them, but I feel like they have to earn it. Kind of the same thing that we did with the Grail Knights, or Grail Guardians, I should say, in the Fay Enchantress's army. They went through all the ranks, and that we're doing with several of our units. And I think that at least one of you guys are ranked up here, though still a fair ways away from rank 8. Actually, it's a Lord's experience is probably going to be pretty helpful here as well, especially since I imagine that a lot of our techs won't apply to the Brigand units, so we basically have to rely fully on the Lord and Hero buffs on them. You will go for, you know, go for execute captives. I don't know if we're in range of this place. We are, okay, good. And then we'll occupy Martel. It's still costing us 4,000. We only saved 1,000 gold by having a nearly full stack. Well, I guess it is a fairly severely damaged full stack. But anyway, Morger and the Warherd of the Shadow Gave destroyed. And that's certainly a feather in your hat. Alright, no rank 15, but you get rank 5, and therefore we'll keep going through Brigand Sparring. Screw Scavenger for now. Maybe not screw Scavenger. No, I'm still gonna say go for Highwaymen. I don't do anything for the Arimo Chasseur, which is Vigilant Elites. But they won't get too much mileage out of their melee attack and defense anyway. Yeah. Highwaymen it is. And then, I would like you to do build a Brigand with Great Axe to replace the one you lost, though 1,463. I don't like how expensive that is, but it is what it is. Kavarok, was it? Yes, get the other Sister of Thorn. Alright, then, yeah, fine, just do it. We'll do that. We're at 19 out of 20, and then we don't have a mage in this army, do we? Well, actually, technically, the Son of Bretonnia is going to be swapped out. Actually, wait. Out of curiosity, Knight's Duty. I just want to point out that the Sons of Bretonnia don't have the Knight trait on them. Meaning they wouldn't actually be a detriment to this particular army in theory. Their casting is obviously going to be inferior to those of damsels because they lack passives other than exorcism, which is... nonetheless, though, Honorazal or not, they do have Knight's Duty, but they don't have the actual Knight trait, which looks like what again? Looks like this. Like a cute little helmet. Yeah. Well, this is good. I was gonna put you into another army. I will think about this. And we may adjust. You also want your second faceless of the cunning variety, but I don't think we have one available as yet. Alrighty, that's done. Back to the Fay Enchantress and whatever it is we're doing here. I think we've done it before, so I think what we will do now is... Oh, wait, you didn't get punted out of the siege. I thought you had. Nonetheless, and oh, this guy's here. Hey, you're here to... You just declared war on these guys? I take it because you just started to be opportunistic. I don't think that they were at war with them before. But we've broken the strength of these guys, so now they're like, oh yeah, let's take their stuff. Free real estate and all that. And where are you going? Just freely trespassing through all of our territory, as the AI is wont to do. Alright, fine, fair enough. We'll want to chase down Morgiana and then go back to Somjek. I doubt that this army could take that, but they can take Mantreda, so I think we'll want to take it for ourselves. So in that light, Fay Enchantress, we're going to have you break the siege. Oh, but if you break the siege, you'll lose the Lady's Blessing, which is kind of annoying. Could sack the place. Take it a tier 2 rather than 3. Maybe we'll just do that. I don't care that much about the Lady's Blessing in this particular case, but nonetheless, probably want to keep it. Doesn't look like anybody's dying, but I'm always nervous about it. No, we're okay. Oh, would you look at that? The reinforcing AI is completely undamaged, whereas us not so much. Go figure. Alright, and sack it. Unfortunate to lose out on the chivalry, but I'd rather maintain the movement. And... Don't tell me you crossed the river off of that. Don't you dare. Okay. You made me nervous there for a second. We'll use Renee to hold Kypris, so that Gotrek and Felix can reinforce and... Channeling staff, gross. So that we can...
We have met before.
Use Gotrek and Felix to reinforce and thereby get the additional XP. You can switch out of this stance as well. You're gonna go here, the Enchantress, you're gonna hit Morgiana. Slay them indeed. And we're good. Okay, auto resolve. And that took way, really? Eh. The auto resolve will probably never like this army. Take the money. Scroll bleaching, scroll
I serve the lady.
How about some better items? Not to worry, we'll turn them into better stuff. And, funnily enough, you could take Mantreda. I wonder, would you be able to go to Morton's home? Wait. If you go here, and you go... Yeah, is that a ogre camp? It is an ogre camp. Wait. Moment. You go here, into Mantreda. What level is this ogre camp, I wonder? A circle. Fire mercenaries. Hello. We have giants, Mournfangs, and man-eaters with ogre pistols. Now, man-eaters are your classic reinforcements. But the Mournfangs, they do tempt me. Granted, we've been seeing a lot of cavalry, but Mournfangs. But it's not like we're using a lot of gunpowder or other units. I gotta go with the man-eaters for now. There is another ogre camp up there, though this army will obviously be limited to 3 mercenaries. But I wanted some mercenaries to travel with Gotrek and Felix anyway. And this feels like an appropriate way to do it. And then get some Imperial units as part of their caravan. Plus the man-eaters with the man-eaters with ogre pistols are much better use in the caravan than the Fang cavalry would be because of the formation that you have to hold. I just wish they weren't so horrifically expensive, but what can you do? Recruit. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Now, these units become ours forever, right? Like, we don't have to worry about, I'm just wondering, if this camp stays here, we could potentially put Mournfangs or something into Renee's army. As odd as it may seem, maybe kick the defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis out, because it'll just be a pile of peasants and a bunch of ogres, and the idea does tickle me, as it were. Anyway, you are able to reach Morton's home. Okay, good. You cannot auto-resolve this. Alright, so we'll fight this in a bit, and then we'll have to fight Morton's home as well. But it's a lot of good conquest in a single turn. Looks like these guys are going to indeed try to move to Somjek. Most likely we're going to have to clear this camp after we take it, or we just trade these territories that we sacked, including Mantreda, to these guys for something. I'm kind of iffy on them being allies with the Monte Castello faction, since they wiped out those Wood Elves, so I'll think about it. Some thought will be put into it. Not a crazy amount of thought, but some of it. Anyway, you, Bertrand, are going this way, once again into the mountains, because, well, it's kind of what you've been doing the entire campaign. Away you go. And Gustav, too. Nameless, crownless. Oh, did I call you nameless before? Faceless hero, crownless lord, yes. Not nameless, I guess. Anyway. Although, considering they're both named Gustav, for all we know they are nameless, and they all just go by Gustav. Gustav is the fantasy version of Alfarius, okay? This is canon now. Anyway, I would like Franciscus to go as quick as he can to Nop it. Ooh. Can't say I like the attrition very much, but there's no guarantee that we'd be able to reach Nop it in 2 turns. Wait, out of curiosity. Actually, wait. Double wait. You still take from here. Nice. Waste all of our precious cash. It looks like from here you can. So I think we can go here and then go into the spread the word. No, not spread the word. Crusade stance? I don't remember the name of the stance, but there's a stance, and we'll go into it. And it'll work, is what I'm getting at. Speaking of spread the word, you can spread it now. Might as well, and it's not a lot of money, but I think we can collect the income here. You, a La Tech Thief. Go to Barboza. And, ooh, we're about to come upon the territory of the Blessed Dread. Actually, speaking of the Blessed Dread, we saw an army of theirs here. I no longer see it. Skaven revealed. Unsurprising. Aha, they might be an ambush.
What is your behest?
I don't think they can take Guaniar, at least not easily. If they are an ambush, like right here, because it's quite suspicious that they disappeared, maybe we don't move Jolene past them. Alright, go into Saint Jacques for now. They won't be past Saint Jacques because they can't have crossed the river, I think, because of the zone of control. Not 100% on it, but it's a possibility. Meline Dutremere, you... Oh, right, you guys are here still. These guys have not yet taken Grimhold, which may be of use to us in terms of just pure trading, so... Okay, wait, there's several things to do. Alright, you, success. You. There a reason... Oh, right, I expected these guys to sally out, and then they didn't. Thickening. We'll have to fight this, but we would probably want to immediately attack Grimhold. Meaning we either sack it or we retreat, but then we lose the Lady's Blessing again. Alright, fine. We'll sack it, which means, you know, a little bit of chivalry cost, but we're nearly maxed out in chivalry anyway. You can spend a little chivalry to gain a little chivalry. And, oh! Wait, really? With the Wood Elf army reinforcing, we're still losing a Knight Errant? Really? Alright, fine, fair enough. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This is our ranged army, or at least our sort of full range, well, maybe not full ranged army, but both trebuchets and arrow fire. I like the sound of all those arrows flying towards the enemy, and I would imagine the poor little units that are, for some reason, moving forward out of the platform are going to have a pretty bad day here, regardless of the fact that these are just peasant arrows. And the Orc Arrow boys are going to run, but too little too late as that particular unit is destroyed. Now, we do have Wood Elves coming in as reinforcements with a nice stack with even more arrow toting or bow toting, whatever, units, but we're probably not in real need of them, and we're not going to wait. Our Pegasus Knights are going to take care of the enemy support tower, or at least damage it. We'll switch our artillery fire to bring it down for good in the background. There we go. While our Knights Errant charge in to the Orc Boar boys, pin them in place, and then allow for the Pegasus Knights to come down. And there we go. And taking one of those glowing lances through the back of the head is probably not going to be so great for the orcs, as they are rather quickly torn apart. Whether fortunately or unfortunately, there's always more orcs where that came from as another unit moves in to try to aid the boar boys, or perhaps just drawn to the sound of fighting, and we ride through them quickly with all 3 of our units of knights errant instead to close the distance with the unit of orc biggins behind them. Effectively, our knights are fighting on one side of the battlefield while our peasantry sort of advance at a crawl. Fire and movement, a couple of units by a couple of units. And any enemy that draws close enough to either fire back and move towards us gets pincushioned and has the trebuchets fire upon them as well, quickly tearing them to shreds. These are fairly lightly armored units after all. And the knights are facing off against much tougher opponents, I suppose, of those boar boys and biggins. And the fact that the enemy seems to be reacting to the knights and moving even more units down here as we speak. So we gotta clear out what we can see and reach and then get ready to move towards the rest of them. Fortunately, these knights errant do need XP in order to eventually be upgraded to Pegasus Knights, and well, they're certainly getting some here. One she giggle. Anyway, looks like all but a couple of the units down here are destroyed, though the enemy is once again reorienting. We are also going to move our artillery pieces forward to try to fire upon them as we're starting to get out of range, and only a couple more units can be hit from where we are. But it's all good. Looks like an orc boar boys unit will lead once again, and it's probably safer to use our Royal Pegasus Knights to be the ones to deal with them, as they're going to be way tankier than the Knights Errant, so they will essentially stop their charge in its tracks, there being the Boar Boys. We'll also move one of our damsels into support, popping off that Forbidden Rod to get the additional mana or Winds of Magic, and then popping off that Earthblood to heal the Knights Errant a little bit as they have taken some damage. There we go. The Boar Boys are once again having a bad time. We're making sure that the Knights Errant clear out the last remaining units that we're fighting, and once they're done, one of them will charge in to help against the Boar Boys, and the others will charge or do their best to charge through the piles of Orc Boys moving down the ramp here. But only for a little bit. We'll do a little bit of damage and we'll back off, and then we'll charge as needed again. There unfortunately isn't really room to maneuver here, so it's not quite as easy to cycle charge. But by charging into them, we can then rear charge the Boar Boys, which will immediately shatter, and due to the morale shock. Nice. And just hopefully not too many of these Star Chasers here get trapped, as they are starting to take damage. The peasantry are still moving in towards the enemy city, protected only by a friar and by no knights at this point, but no enemy has actually come even close to reaching them. This was an Error Boy unit, I believe, that got destroyed. And we do still have artillery fire in support of them. Looks like a big blob, and hello. Magic being fired off at our damsel, which makes sense, so she's going to keep everybody nice and healed up. And 2 more units of Boar Boys have closed the distance with 3 more units of Orc Boys. Looks like they're going where the fighting is much tougher. They could have, if they really wanted to, at least have tried to rush our lines of peasants, or peasant archers. But they decided to fight the knights instead. Is that going to go well for them? Somehow I doubt it, especially with the Royal Pegasus Knights here to lead. It is a bit of a blob and a melee here, which we may not necessarily want on our Knights Errant, as they're still, they are still shock cavalry after all. Now the game calls them anti-infantry. I guess it has to call them anti-infantry because they're not anti-large, because they don't have any anti-infantry bonuses, they're just basic shock cavalry. And in a sense, I guess they're more anti-infantry than anti-large, as, while charging into a large unit with the fragile Knights Errant is not such a good idea. Not that the orcs will be able to capitalize on that, as the bounce power has shifted about 95% in our favor. Both of the Boar Boy units have at this point been destroyed, and while a couple of units of Biggins remain in the fight, together with the enemy lord, I don't imagine the same said fight will last too much longer. I suppose it is nice to see the knights in an occasional sort of melee like this, not necessarily just charging through, so we can at least enjoy their attack animations rather than them just riding down and punting things. Not that the latter isn't extremely fun, mind you. And I have nothing else to say, we're just waiting out the clock, and by the looks of it, we don't need to do so for too much longer, as with that, the last of the orc boys loses their HP, and with their lord shatters, and giving the battle to us before the wood elves arrive on field. And just out of curiosity, you are a modded legendary lord, I take it? Twinblade Lord, eh? You have anything interesting here? Dance of Doom. Can disrupt unit formations, huge stationary area effect. Fun. And yeah, I guess you probably would want this guy to be leading a couple of war dancers, which I think the enemy has in this army. But anyway. Alright, there we go. Nice little fight. You don't really care about the standard of discipline, but very much you do care about the fun little fight we had. We got 43k damage in the Knights of the Algorithm, doing very well, unsurprisingly, and just mincing those poor orc boar boys. Though some of the Knights Errant, including the Launching Lancers here, managed to keep up, though ironically, while the Star Chasers here will probably keep their name, the Launching Lancers, if they're to become Pegasus Knights, which don't have lances, will probably be turned into... or swap out the name. Or I guess we could make these guys into Royal Pegasus Knights if we really wanted to, although, is that too much? I don't know, I'll think about it. We will sack the place. A little bit of chivalry loss. Hey, gain Savior, good. Someone's gonna be happy. Dragonclaw, good. You are able to reach Grimhold. We will ignore Putrid Stump and this. This is still... yeah, this is the AI doing that thing where they cannot easily auto-resolve this. Like, these guys have been besieged for 8 million years, but it's their last territory, so the AI is basically programmed never to wipe them out. Funnily enough, as soon as they do, Dirthu would just... even if they don't wipe them out, Dirthu would, so it wouldn't make much of a difference. You go to Grimhold. And can you occupy this? You really? It's gonna kill the Knights Errant, really? Okay. Okay, well, we'll deal with this in a bit. Actually, I might deal with this between the episodes if I remember, which remains to be seen. Olivia of the Braid or Leone, you have a higher level, but do one of you have a better trait? Generous Spirit versus... oh, you both have Generous Spirit. Do you have any interesting traits? No, and... no, doesn't look like it. Meaning it doesn't really matter, meaning you're gonna go here. Meaning you are gonna go here, and we'll occupy. There we go, completing this province, lovely. Repair, delete, and go for the Realm of Chivalry. We can collect the income here now. And I guess next turn we'll want to build a city. I don't think we have the reductions, the base reductions anymore, do we? I think it ran out, yeah. This is just Vision of Magic, which will be gone in 3 turns. Wait, how long do we still have the Fay thing? You know, the thing? Not short victory achieved. Compassion of the Fay, 13 more turns. Okay. So then we'll have to pop off one of these, and... is it Dream of Hope next? Huh? All enemies have lowered missile weapon range and lowered melee damage. That would be helpful. If indeed that is in fact the case. Next up, I would like to check... okay, so Talzin, you are the one who has access to nearly everything, so we're probably going to save up. I did want some treekin in some of our forces. I wanted 2 more eagles, though. 27, so Vidrioth, we could very well be getting one from you. And Modron, yeah, see, this is why I was so annoyed about the Confederation there. Can we get a defense alliance with you yet? Minus 10. So no. Okay, so what we need to do to get the defense alliance from these guys is most likely to go get Seathil and then transfer them with that province.
The nation calls.
Oh. Huh, that's interesting. I feel like the Wood Elves should be kind of unhappy. about that, just conceptually speaking. Anyway, I guess we do have another fight to fight since the game won't let us auto-resolve this one. We will level everybody up after, I think, well, with the possible exception of the Green Knight, who has, in the meantime, gained some useful levels. I mean, Wisdom of the Age is nice, but is it as nice as additional XP for all characters per turn? I'm going to say no. Ooh, we have... Wait. Did we have recruitment for increase for knights anywhere? Because we are recruiting knights. Actually, wouldn't mind more recruitment rank increase for peasantry, but because we are recruiting... Ooh, cavalry reduction for all cav. This may make us a decent chunk of change, but probably not worth it over the additional XP because, well, we're getting a lot of extra lords. So we'll do this one. Okay. One, then weapon strength, melee attack, charge bonus, bonus versus large, and hit points. Go with weapon strength, go with melee attack, and go with the percentage-based charge bonus. Bonus versus large plus 25 is a significant buff. Let's go none shall pass. Alrighty, and then we shall fight this and level you guys. Yeah, okay, you're 1 or 3 points short of lethal romancer and all the other stuff. Plus I want to see the ogres in action go. Alrighty, here we go. Now we do, technically speaking, have some, our main stack, rather not some, coming in as reinforcements, but the fun part I think of this is going to be Gotrek, Felix, and the giant pile of ogres that we had here. Sort of the beginnings of the caravan that will eventually be part of their army. If the campaign lasts that long, I might do a couple of different style caravan armies, but I still feel like they should be going on an adventure in a caravan. Anyway, we're going to move the man-eaters with ogre pistols up, and they will begin delivering their extremely high damage to the orc war boys here. Actually do wonder if there's a lot of overkill happening. Most likely there is, as these guys are better used to snipe big targets, but big single entity targets, rather than smaller numbers like this. And speaking of, maybe not a big target, but we do have a orc war boss, or black orc big boss rather, running around, who rapidly loses about half of his HP to fire from the ogre man-eaters, actually a little bit more than half his HP, before closing the distance with Gotrek and Felix, who are still in the midst of the brawl here, fighting back-to-back against droves of enemies. I think they can handle a single Black Orc Big Boss, I imagine, especially with fire support coming in from the man-eaters with ogre pistols, though as I was saying, the reason these guys want to snipe single entities is that they have a tendency to all fire into the same exact point, such that you get your 20 ogre man-eaters firing, but they'll maybe hit 1 or 2 units of the boar boys per volley, since units in this game have a weird tendency not to spread out their shots, as if they're all perfect marksmen and are all a hive mind and know exactly what they're firing at. The light cav have a bad tendency to do this as well, where you have like a unit of 60 light cav, look at a unit of 260 or whatever Skaven slaves, and somehow all manage to pick up 1 Skaven slave to fire at. It's silly, and I don't think it should be like that. The ultra accuracy, or whatever that's called, should be removed from it. And by them I mean the light cav at the very least. The ogres, I feel like it's fine in the sense that they should be used for specific targets maybe. Although them firing at least 10, if not instead of 1 or 2 mobs in a blob would be great, as it would make them a lot more effective at them. But it's just the nature of knowing what unit is good for what and how they're going to act. Anyway, speaking of the ogres, time for them to join the fray in melee. Yes, they do still have plenty of ammunition, but I do like watching them fight, so. Besides, ogre man-eaters are deceptive in the fact that they do have pistols, but they are very solid in melee, and oftentimes you want to send them into the melee to fight. And they'll certainly kill boar boys faster in melee than they will at range. Anyway, the Green Knight has arrived to join Gotrek and Felix, and I believe, unless I'm mistaken, he has actually just delivered the final blow to the enemy Orc War Boss on his arrival. And while this is a sort of slightly darker portion of the map, the Green Knight's glow means that, well, we can see at least him clearly. Perhaps a little bit less so on Gotrek, as he is, well, rather short. And on top of it, covered in blood, so, yeah. Oh well, plus now he has to, be surrounded by all of these ogres. In the meantime, the Fay Enchantress has arrived on field with a few of the other units, and we're going to send the paladins that are in this particular army to move in with the Fay herself. And we're just not going to bother sending in the rest of our army. The artillery will still fire off a few shots, though most of them will not be able to hit anything just due to the settlement blocking us. But the occasional one will land. And here we're perfectly free to cast the occasional offensive spell with the Fay Enchantress. While she also does Mortis Engine and just general damage. And she's already at 500 kills and 73,000 damage over on this side, but we've seen her fight many a time, which is why I was mostly looking over on this side. Alright, getting a quick little bit of buffs for everybody. My Vow, melee attack and defense, but most importantly Vigor, well, not so much reduction, but Reclamation, Recovery. Let's go with Recovery. For everybody in A, we're starting to move out of the dark portion of the map. The Green Knight is now even more visible, and Amalric has joined in as well. Mostly because it's the Pegasus Riders that are currently with the Fay Enchantress. And I figured Amalric could join the Green Knight, and thus it'll be the two of them, and the duo of Gotrek and Felix as well, to lead the pile of man-eaters with ogre pistols. Although, yeah, man-eater is working for you, perhaps quite unchivalrous, but, well, this army is just Gotrek and Felix and a one damsel and the three, or is it even a damsel, a prophetess, and the three man-eaters, and as yet nothing else. Although eventually stuff there will be. Go figure. Alright, just a matter of time now for the orcs, I think, as the bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor. The Fay Enchantress still in the fight over on this side, but the enemy numbers are dwindling in a similar manner to where Gotrek, Felix, and the Green Knight are fighting. Can't quite get the camera as close in this particular case due to the presence of this building, which is another reason, I suppose, to have been watching most of that side of the battlefield for this particular fight. And not that we're going to be watching it for all that much longer, by the looks of it, as the bounce power has shifted to about 95% in our favor now, and I think a couple more units to clear out, and the battle will be ours. We've made our way around the bend, around the corner here, and are now starting to make our way up this ramp. Our man-eaters are doing a good job, and also not taking all that much damage, though even if they did, we would have the Fay Enchantress able to heal them as needed. It's time, I think, to clear out the last of the enemy units, so we're going to send the Friar in and provide support by using his Soulfire. And by the looks of it, between that and the Fay Enchantress dishing out more damage, the battle is very nearly ours. I actually thought that the enemy would shatter here, but I think they will shatter now instead. Alright, so it was an extra couple of seconds, no big deal. And a nice little fight with this command squad, as it were. And honestly kind of reminds me of what I did with Urogny Zinaviev's command squad in my Serena Katrin, I want to say, run, where he spent most of the campaign with just like a couple of the heroes and then a couple of units, but just like super elites getting surrounded and attacked. It was the Acolytes of Ursun in that particular campaign. As I recall, I did something different with Castalton's run. Anyway, decisive victory for us, completely unsurprising. A nice little bit of XP for the Green Knight and Gotrek and Felix as well. Alright, there we go. A nice little fight, especially with the sort of separate elements fighting. Gotrek and Felix got to enjoy themselves, with Gotrek getting 22k damage and 160 kills, and the Green Knight getting, well, perhaps unsurprisingly, more damage dealt, and damage dealt is gold value, less kills, but I guess he was killing harder targets, like boar boys, than Gotrek was. Speaking of boar boys, they had a bad time against the man-eaters with ogre pistols, who did severe damage to the enemy lord before his head was taken by one of the heroes, and otherwise went into melee, got themselves some nice veterancy for their first fight as well. Very nice indeed. Fay Enchantress, in the meantime, went to the other side, and unlike usual, where we don't use too much in the way of damaging spells, we popped off a couple in this particular battle, and got a solid 120,000 damage and 900 kills for her. Lovely. We will occupy the place with Gotrek and Felix. I'll do it anyway. I'm just now thinking, if there is another army nearby... Wait, who got that relic sword? This confer magical damage. I was wondering if there was an army nearby. I see no military presence in Brasov. Oh, let me guess, these guys are going to try to go to Brasov after. You should be able to reach it in one turn, though. Hopefully. Alrighty, anyway, Fay Enchantress, you're going to besiege Morton's home after this, and I'm going to assume that Luan is safe. Gotrek and Felix are mortal anyway, so it shouldn't matter over much. We will not level you up until we fight this, I imagine. With the possible exception of... Is there anything here that would be of use to the fight that we don't want to get other stuff over? Reinforcements, control all provinces is nice, and again, I would get it if this was the early game, but now it's not as critical. We should probably grab Purified Waters, but perhaps not at the cost of some of the other stuff in here. I'm gonna have to go with Galvanize the Peasantry. And just for the recruitment. Anyway, I think for this particular fight, we didn't even need to go into stance. We'll save the actual fight for next time, as it is bound to be a decent one, since we are at half HP, and we'll have to work for the win. You are not. I guess you need a level... Yeah, you do need level 12 for your unique line, and I take it Gotrek is the same. Yes, he is. He can get Demon Slayer, which is corruption reduction in the province, but that is not helpful here. Ancestral Grudge, not super helpful either. Yeah, you're just going to want rank 12. Frankly, Rune of Grimnir is really good because additional mass is just, generally speaking, very helpful. Oh, also before I forget, I wanted to go through these because I don't remember which techs we need, but there are factions that are no longer existing that we should, in theory, confederate, quote-unquote. Now, I don't remember, did we confederate Artois, or did we confederate... No, I think we didn't, right? And we got Artois by virtue of it having already been confederated, meaning if we do this... Or did we? Did we get a dilemma? Yeah, we do. Okay, so yeah. I want to do this right now because we would have done the tech. Word save on fighting forest battles, leadership forest battles, reload time forest battles, and... melee attack, but it's a tiny amount of ward save and melee attack. I gotta go with the reload because forest battles will probably be an issue for the rare times that we fight them for our units in terms of arrows not actually hitting anything. 2% ward save is probably not enough to worry about. 4th tribute. Alright, and I will continue attempting to remember to do that periodically here and there. Alright, next up... Okay, we're not building anything here. We will... Ooh, wow, that's ludicrously expensive. At the very least, we want to build up the stuff that we can get for either free or close to it. We don't technically need the Arimo hideout, although the ability to build the chasseurs would be nice. Ah, yes, okay, so definitely all the infrastructure stuff. Infrastructure, Chapel of the Lady or Shrine of the Lady, whatever it is. And you're going up to tier 2, so I think we can do you. Eastern Aranas, you're fine, at least for now. I don't want to invest in you. Let's do the free stuff. And you can now go for wood, because while the brothel would be nice... your public order is good enough by virtue of the brothels in nearby territories, and therefore we're good. You should be upgraded, but I don't know if we'll have enough money, especially if we want to recruit more stuff this particular turn, which is a distinct possibility pretty much always. Skaven Blight, how much did that cost? Money? How dare you? How dare you not be free? Ooh. I'd say, nah, we gotta get it, because it's upkeep reduction for all of our knightly units, though it is expensive. Grr. Anyway, let's see. Tavern. Tavern. We should probably upgrade Castle Garamond first. Mousillon, let's go for the farm. You were not upgrading until Alberic is back. Let's upgrade Castle Rachard. And River Grismarie. I don't think we'll have enough money to recruit and do this. So, ooh, actually, that also reminds me of another thing. Okay, first of all, let's once again do all the free stuff, and then we'll see how much cash we have remaining after the free stuff. This is not free, but it is something we want to do. This should be, well, it's nearly free. Oh, because we don't have the commandment up and running. Fair enough. You can go for the windmill for the faster growth in nearby territories. Kypros. I don't know that we're keeping you, so just stay as you are for now. Alcazaro, we are keeping you, but we are not doing anything about this at this current time. And I think that's it. With the possible exception of Lycoris, this stuff is free, so we will still build it, although I don't know whether we're actually going to keep it or trade it away. Anyway, oh right, the Bogenhofen thing. We do have to spend this money because they refuse to trade Bogenhofen for Montlac. Just to double check there.
Desperate if they send this excuse for an envoy.
Yeah, no dice. Alright, we'll need a third military structure there for it to be tradable. Which means... Hey, you wanna not lose Ubersreich maybe? It's kinda famous. But anyway. Go here. Town. Okay, 3,000 gold remaining. Not as much as I'd like, admittedly. Anyway, we do still have this fight to fight, but I don't think we have time this particular episode, and this little fight I will do between the episodes. I would, however, like the Duke of Caravans to... We've already recruited a lord in this province this turn. Oh, right, by replacing... Man. How about that, then? And we got the Duke of Artois as well. Alright, so let's get you on field. Fortunately, legendary lords are free. You can start raiding and getting the free XP, and then getting the inspiring presence in Route Marcher. Probably have the ladies champion, just in case we get you into a fight. And then we should have enough money to at least start with the peasant mobs. Because since we're using so many elite units, we will, you know, counteract that by having a bunch of peasant mobs. Probably give them a friar. Maybe a Grail Relique. Oh, in fact, since Grail Reliques take 2 turns to build, we'll build one of those, and then some peasants like this, and then we'll see. Then, the other Duke will be here, Duke of Artois. You have the Questing Knights bonus. I do have a lot of Questing Knights here. Almost tempted to get you on the field here to transfer these guys. Because we have these 3 and these guys, the Regiments of Renown. And you technically buff non-knight units way more than you buff knightly stuff. Plus you have stock, which is kind of interesting. If we wanted to lead a bandit force with a frickin' stalking hippogriff, there's certainly potential for it. Huh. Maybe we do get this guy out here then. But then we wouldn't have other units for him, but we can always have him leech XP until we're ready. There's like a lot of dukes are over on this side now. Well, 2, but, you know. Franciscus is one of our lords. Alright, fine. Get Duke of Artois here. Start spreading the word, and since you're level 1, you are of little use to us. We also have you coming in 1 and 2 turns, so we'll wait on that. And keep an eye on these guys as well. We have another strategist, which is great, but it's the tactician one we want, especially since we already have a free strategist if we want to make use of them. Anyway, I think with that, folks, this is probably going to be a good place to call this particular episode. There is still some things to do, including fights, so I think we'll start the next episode by, well, doing said things. And I will just take a look at some of the admin here between the episodes as to who's going where, and if anything, well, if we can afford to recruit anything else, maybe recruit a few more things for a few more armies. As several of these armies will want to be able to move out in rather short order, starting with most likely Rapunzel, who's about halfway there. and whoever else is coming around this way to join these armies as well, like you guys. Okay, I'll move those guys between the episodes as well. So, next time we will continue getting new armies on field and hopefully getting some more great fights with the newer armies as they continue to take damage fighting and stuff. Leon, I guess you can occupy a few territories. You will still want to travel to Castle Lyonesse, but probably should grab a few extra territories while on the way. Anyway, more to come. Stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below as they will determine how long this campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.